Hello everyone, welcome back for another book review. So today we are talking about this book. So this is part of the many books that I read whilst on vacation. This is Journey to the Dark Goddess, How to Return to Your Soul by Jane Meredith. So this book is an interesting concept. It's not a beginner book by any means. This book definitely relies on you having background information. So this is definitely intermediate to advanced levels. It walks you through a little bit, but I feel like you should have some experience before you jump into this book. So the premise of this book is basically she goes through 3 myths and you kind of journey to the underworld. The 3 that she focuses on is Persephone. I never know how to say the name. I think it's like Psyche or Psyche or something. And Inanna. Could be mispronouncing, but you know. Basically what happens is you have your upper world and then somehow or another you get ripped down into the underworld. There's a journey to doing that. Then you're stuck in the underworld, and then, inevitably, you gotta deal with stuff, and then you can return back to the world of living. A lot of people have really loved that concept, and this book just kind of uses those myths to walk you through them, and use a lot of symbolism, and it's fantastic. So if you feel like you need to do some really deep work, this book is fantastic for kind of holding your hand. You still have to do a lot of the heavy lifting yourself, but it gives you rituals and different things to work through whatever you're working through. For some people, you can feel that pull of like life is going bad and you gotta deal with stuff, whether it's old shadowy bits that are surfacing. This is kind of like taking shadow work to the next level, and like you're gonna resolve your issues. Not necessarily get rid of them, you're not banishing them, but you're like acknowledging them and really handling it. And again, this is very heavily based on the myths, so a lot of the rituals have to do with those. For example, in one of them, you literally make the equivalent of the like 7 things or whatever that she has to give up as she's entering into the underworld. She talks about her own experience throughout it. It didn't really take away from the story, it just kind of gave you more that you could possibly relate to as you're going through this. I did find it a little bit of a bummer that it was only those myths included, but again, I don't care much for like Greek mythology. It's more of a me thing. I've never really been interested in Greek mythology that much, so whenever it comes up, I'm just kind of like, yep, it's there. Some people love it, and that's great. The first time I read this, I was like, oh yeah, Morrigan could easily do that. She definitely grabs your hair and just drags you into the underworld. 100%. But now, working with the Norse gods, and again, still early in my journey with them, but working with Hel this season, it's like, she's such a different vibe of the underworld, because it's like, it's always described as like dark and creepy, and it's just a terrible experience. In my experience working with Hel, it's like, that's just the veil to get there, dude. That's what you're experiencing right now. You're not all the way on the other side yet because you're still alive. You don't get to come all the way across yet, which is like definitely UPG. That's fine. I am down for that. And the idea of Hel being this very compassionate and loving entity instead of this terrifying one, it's very different than the dark goddess vibes that you usually see, and yet Hel usually gets lumped into their category, and I'm like, she's not the same vibes. So like the whole time I was reading that, I kind of kept comparing it to how I'm kind of viewing Hel's realm, her kingdom, and I'm like, I don't know. Because it's in a lot of ways, Greek underworld, Hades, it has a lot of similar attributes. There's rivers in the underworld. They have names. I don't know if the Norse ones do. I feel like they do. Again, new at that. It's a lot of research. But anyways, off my side tangent, as a whole, I would definitely recommend this book if you are going through some deep work. This is great if you want to take your shadow work into a ritualistic point and really kind of work through your stuff. Again, it's not banishing aspects of yourself. And some of it I found a little weird. Like in one of her examples, she took her wedding ring off, and then you go through your journey, and then she was like, well, I don't know if I want to put it back on, but you take your stuff back as you're leaving the underworld. It just, like, some of that I was like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. If you're leaving these aspects of yourself behind, do you like reevaluate them? Like, it's a thing that I think anyone who does this has to choose and experience themselves. But it is definitely very interesting. Some of it is a little bit more of like the women's mysteries, kind of like goddess-centered things. And so if that's not really your vibe, you might not enjoy this. I thoroughly enjoyed reading through it, and I don't know if I would necessarily do the exercises in here, but it's a great resource in case I did. Because at one point I was really tempted to start doing these, and it was just a matter of trying to find the time in my schedule and stuff. And inevitably I kind of made my own way out of the underworld, just kind of scrambling along as I went and finally made it myself. But other people, sometimes it might be nice to have a book to have rituals and things to guide you through the journey. And of course it doesn't happen overnight. It can take months, even up to a year, of leaving the underworld, let alone dwelling there. You can dwell there for a few days, months, years. So I definitely recommend this if you feel like you're going through kind of a rough patch. Do keep in mind, she does warn you about this, trauma sometimes is a little too intense. So sometimes, and she does encourage this the whole time through, to have people that you can talk to and make sure you're grounded in reality too. Oftentimes she's encouraging you to have a friend, partner, family, and a counselor involved as you're doing all of this, because it will bring up emotions and issues and traumas and things, and you need to have support while dealing with it, which is huge. If you know you're not mentally stable enough to be diving into all of your deep, dark aspects, don't do this book. Just don't. Take care of yourself first. Sometimes the underworld, it can wait. Shadow work and working on yourself, it can wait. You need to work on being okay with where you are now and having a grounded life so that it doesn't push you over the edge. Just like when doing shadow work. Sometimes you're not in a state to do it, and that's okay. You don't always get to be in that state. Sometimes you just gotta deal with what you can. But that's something I really love about this, is that she does have a lot of emphasis on, like, you need to have support as you're doing this, because it is really rough. So anyways, as a whole, I would definitely recommend this book. Again, definitely intermediate advanced, not for the beginners. And again, if you are also struggling mentally, this might not be a good time for this book, but if you're a little bit more stable and you're ready to deal with the stuff that it's going to bring up, this is a fantastic guide to get you there. As per usual, a huge thank you to my patrons. I'll have their names here. If you would like to support me, it is patreon.com/nightwillowcrafts. There is a bunch of content going up in October. As for here on the channel, do make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I post every single day. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, and blessed be.